Cambly Podcast, the best way to improve your English.
Oi pessoal, eu sou a Teacher K, estamos começando mais um podcast do Cambly. E hoje o Teacher Qual ele vai explicar para vocês como usar o leader e o boss em inglês, vocês sabem? Então, se você não conhece o Cambly, vai lá no Cambly, tem muitos tutores nativos que podem te ajudar com vários tópicos diferentes. Você só usar o código Teacher K, tudo junto, e você tem uma aulinha totalmente grátis. Então vai lá, tá bom? Teacher Qual, hello. Can you help us out with the difference between boss and leader?
Hello, Teacher Ka. Of course. Well, the difference is actually relatively simple. Obviously, we know they are two words that have different meanings, and one is a little bit more general. The word leader has a suffix "er", which is person who does something. So leader is a person who leads or guides. And that's it, basically. Any person that gives you guidance or leads a project or an activity can be called a leader in a specific situation. For example, you can have the leader of a group, right? And it's not a formal position. It's just a person who is guiding the group or leading the group, who is more in charge or giving suggestions or instructions. Again, not necessarily in a formal manner. It can be in a formal manner, and maybe at work you have a team leader, for example, or the leader of marketing. Again, this doesn't mean it's a formal position, but it's a responsibility. And boss is the opposite, or not the opposite, but it is a formal responsibility. The boss is specifically the person who is in charge of you and your activities, who is your superior, okay? So you can have one boss, you can have a boss of your department, you can have the boss of the company, you can have the boss of your branch. So you might have several bosses at different levels, and they're all your bosses, right? But ironically, not all bosses are leaders, right? Think of the company. The company has a boss, but he's not necessarily leading the company or guiding the company, or he's not necessarily guiding or leading you. So one is more talking about an activity, right? What you do, guiding, instructing, leading. And the other is more a position, a formal position, right? Like a boss or a supervisor. And that's it.
Teacher Qual, can you give us examples using boss and leader in sentences?
Of course. For example, we can say that there is a leader in our friend group, right? So the sentence would be something like, the leader of our group always gives great advice. We're talking about someone who helps us, who guides us, who gives advice, not necessarily a formal position. He's the leader of our friends, basically, right? Or we could say something like, maybe if we're talking about sports, okay? There might be some teams that don't have a formal captain, but there can be a leader, right? For example, when we're playing casually, maybe we didn't have the position of captain, but you could say, oh, this is the leader of our team, right? And the leader of our team always scores, for example. Okay. Now, when we're talking about boss, it's, as we said, just a position. And we can say something as simple as, I was talking to my boss today in the meeting. Or, my boss sent me an email about a new task that he asked me to do. And this is just referring to the person who has the position in the company or in work that is in charge.
Então, pessoal, se vocês quiserem ter aula com tutores nativos igual o Teacher Qual, vai lá no Cambly e use o código Teacher K. Você vai ter uma aulinha totalmente grátis, tá bom? Eu sou a Teacher K, espero vocês no próximo episódio. Bye, Teacher Qual. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
You can. You Cambly.